Hi guys, I'm back with number 2 of 2 of my kitchen journals. This cover is a vintage recipe binder cover that I found at an estate sale. I didn't put a closure on this one because it laid quite nicely, so I left it as is. It does have a removable tassel on the side that consists of ribbon, beads, and once again miniature trinkets from my miniature collection. Give you a better shot of some of them. There's a canister set, a copper mold, a box of Raisin Bran, a little dough bowl, a rolling pin. Of course, there's ribbon, and there's some beads, a whisk, and a couple other things on there. I went with a blue and white check and kind of a, I guess you would say, a pumpkin color to pull out the blue in the recipe word there and the peach color in the peaches. There's 2 signatures, and I believe it's a 2-inch spine. I left the inside and the back inside covers plain because there was some useful information on those microwave tips back when microwaving was a really big thing, and some weights and measurement conversion things and so forth. The first page has a double pocket on it. A little pocket holds an image of a woman in a kitchen apron. And I thought the woman in this ad from a vintage magazine resembled her, almost identical. So I stuck her in this front pocket with that. Looks like she had been sweeping her floor. And there's also a greeting card with some apples on the front. This is just a journaling card where you can write on the back. Here's a corner tuck spot. It says one hot tomato. Here we have one of the little notepads with a mason jar cover that's from Meg at Chasing Retro. Here's an ad for peanut butter and a journaling tag with a recipe from apricot tea cookies, and I don't recall what this was taken from, maybe an old newspaper actually. Here's the plaid wax paper from Dollar Tree, a doily. Here's a pocket that's made with 2 bands, or a corner tuck spot is probably a better description, with a shaker card. And I made it, well, my thought was to make it look like a kitchen window with curtains. So that's what I went for. And I made it kind of like a cloud scene in the back. We have another journaling card. This one is for Heavenly Potatoes. And another journaling card. And this is a dictionary page with the word sugar was found on this page. There's some white pom-pom trim on the edge. Paper clipped over here. We have a journaling card with some berries. This is a piece of fabric that I cut. And this is a notepad. Or is it? Nope. Yeah. Notepad with a few sheets of paper. And I left this plain, so if somebody wanted to color it in with colored pencils or markers, they could. This is part of a paper, well, not part of, it is a paper placemat that I folded up, and you can write on the center there. And it was flipped up, which made a pocket. And tucked in there is a recipe for, well, it looks like cinnamon applesauce. Old recipe, handwritten. Beautiful handwriting, whoever did that. Here's a note card with a matching envelope. And a journaling card with felt letters that says, I love cooking. Which I personally don't. I don't like it at all, but I do it all the time. Here's a belly band. Part of a sentence strip with the word milk. And a journaling card that says, well, that was disappointing. I went to the farmer's market for food. Turns out all they have are ingredients. It sounds like she doesn't like cooking either. I'll get it in there. Here we go. Here's a pocket, and my vision was to make it look like an apron pocket, so I hope I succeeded with that. Here's a little place card, a journaling card, lady putting a casserole in an oven, and a recipe card. Paper with a fabric cluster. Here's a journaling card made to look like an apron. And an envelope that says tea for two. Piece of fabric glued down, stamped with a teapot. And inside is Bon Appetit, please come, invitation. I crimped this paper, made a tab out of that, put it on the pink notebook paper. Here's some more ledger paper of some type, and I had these tile stickers, and I thought maybe you might find those in a kitchen. Maybe not an American kitchen, but maybe Greece, somewhere like that. Here's an image from the book Susie's New Stove. That was made into a pocket. Punch the edge and put pink behind it so it read nicely without the print. Here's a memo sheet and a journaling card that's made from a very thick index divider with an old-fashioned food grinder, a picture carrot, and some washi tape on there. This is a divider from this recipe binder that I used for the cover. You can write on the back of that as well as that page. And here's a journaling card, woman cooking on a stove. It's from a very old magazine from 1940, to Old Friends, the big new anniversary edition. And it was Kate Smith's favorite recipes. Here's a bread bag for French bread. And that holds what used to be in every kitchen across the U.S. box of Hostess products. I know it was always in mine growing up. Get the tassel back in there. And this half is a journaling card, Queen of Bread Puddings. can write on the back. There's also this journaling card, lady in front of a refrigerator, and it's an index divider. Here we have some vintage trim in blue. Another of the flip-flop tags. You can write behind those, under them, on them, whatever you like. Ledger paper, lemonade sticker on it. Here's an image from the Downton Abbey cookbook that, yes, I cut apart. I don't regret that. With Mrs. Patmore. And her name escapes me at the moment. Paper with some drinks on it. Looks very retro. This is some Kool-Aid dyed paper with a fabric cluster and a milk cap. And on this side is a floral trim, applique trim. Ledger paper, big stamp of a teapot on there. Oh, this wasn't ledger, this was actually a school planner. That's what that is. Page from a school planner. Over here's an envelope with plums on it, and inside is some play money. And this is cut from a wallpaper border, and you can write on the back of that. Part of that paper placemat, which holds a little writing sheet, a recipe for man-pleasing appetizers, and a grocery list. Can't put anything too heavy in these papery kind of pockets like that. Paper's kind of thin. This is a paper flip, lady in her chef's hat, a rolling pin, and a cookbook sticker. And I tried to coordinate with this page. Here's a tuck spot with a very old ad for a kitchen set where everything matched. Your bread box, your pitcher, your trash can, your cake cover, your canister set, your paper towel holder, everything. Ransburg Originals, they were hand painted. And that holds a journaling card. It's lined on both sides. And a recipe card for rice pilaf. Here's a belly band. And that holds part of a sentence strip with the word egg. A journaling card with an image of 8 o'clock coffee. And that's from an old magazine. So apparently they've been around a long time. And here's a page from Top Value. I don't know, were those called trading stamps? That was never cashed in. I have a book. It's completely full. You could probably write on top of those, if you so choose. Here's a vertical belly band with the word yummy printed with chipboard letters. A little tag with a teapot on it that I made with my Cricut. I think this might be a Project Life card with a woman in a apron on the front that I glued down. And this shows you all the different vintage Pyrex patterns that were out there. I wonder if mine's on here. I had clear bowls with white flowers. I don't see it on there. My mom, my mom's were pink with white, like that color is what she had. They last forever, but they get to be heavy when you get the real big ones. Here's two little pockets with some fabric embellishment on there. Woman loading her wonderful dishwasher. And here's another card, and it shows the different cuts of beef from right off the cow. This is a tab, and it's made from the shoulder of an apron, an old apron I picked up at an estate sale. Some paper has Cheerios printed all over it, and inside is a card from a Blockbuster movie game, and it says American Pie on there. It's just a page that was embellished with some trim and rickrack, and I'm not sure if these were Project Life cards. I'm not sure. They're just samples. I got at one of those at an alley store when they were doing the big American craft sale. So I just created two writing areas there. And of course, it coordinates with this side with this lemon wrapping paper is what that was. I clipped on behind it. This is this old sequencing card of a teacup, and a sheet of, it's embossed, and it has fruits and veggies all over it. Actually, it's just veggies. Here's half of a sandwich bag, which holds a $50 wrapper and a journaling card with some cooking pots and pans on it, which I believe is from a Best catalog from 70s or 80s. And I think this is pretty old too. I have a paper supply store. It's about 40 minutes from me. And they have a lot of old stock in there. And they carry all these old coin wrappers in there. Here's another divider from this recipe binder, lamb and pork. And then on this side, I sewed down a slice of watermelon that's from some fabric that I have. I think it was a tablecloth. And here's a tag, the lady holding a casserole. And this says kitchen, Mother Cooks in the Kitchen, and that's from a children's dictionary. Oh, paper clip, not a pocket, Susan. Here's some wrapping paper that has kitchen items all over it, so I guess that's probably from a shower. It also has cats on it. Tuck spot. This too, I know this is from a tablecloth. And we have a journaling tag with a fabric journaling tag with apples on it, and cherries on the tab, and a note sheet, which is from another recipe binder. On this side, it's a tuck spot, it's fabric, and a recipe. It's kind of an L shape. And we have a journaling tag, a cherry pie, and a recipe for easy chocolate lovers cheesecake. And I think cheesecake is my favorite dessert. Over here's paper that you would find in one of those plastic baskets, and some teapots that I put down on some black paper with white dots, layered them, and then sewed them all together onto the next paper. I sewed it together, but I glued it down because sometimes my bobbin thread messes up and I don't want to ruin the whole page, so I glue it down after I sew it. Here's a tag with Pyrex bowls on it. I have the metal cutting die and a blue note sheet. And all of those are held on with an embellished paper clip that has a little canister on it that says flower. Fabric pocket with the apples. And then here's a rather large journaling card that says Saturday, good for cakes and pies. You can write on the back of that. Here's a crisscross pockets. Journaling tag. This is one of those iron-ons that you would iron onto a tea towel. Can't think of the brand. Here's a word search for tea time. And a grocery list. Over here we have a public library note sheet and a shopping list. Now everyone uses their phones, but me. This is from a home inventory book. An image from Susie's new stove made into a pocket. It holds a little notepad. Goes like that. A journaling tag. A little flower on there. And another journaling card. And this one has an old advertisement for Betty Crocker chocolate brownie mix, and I don't know if they made it look very appetizing back then. We definitely do a much better job today with that kind of thing. This page has some chickens and eggs, so I made a pocket that has a yellow and a brown egg. It just dictated it to me. I didn't have a choice. Here's some play money. A yellow index card with what else but chicken on it, and a journaling tag that has an old-fashioned whisk. To coordinate with this page that I just put a yellow ruffle on there, fabric ruffle. I stenciled a bottle of pot and a teapot onto that page. Coloring page has a toaster and you can write underneath it. Another page from Susie's new stove. It's a pocket. It holds a recipe, an empty recipe card, and a recipe for pizza potatoes. Journaling space on the back of the wrapping paper. This is from Send Receive. I think that's a Christmas card list. Lunch bag. Just an embellished Rolodex card and an apple. Library card that says Farm Fresh. Tuck spot. Journaling card that has oven mitts, and I flocked them so there's texture to it. and a blank recipe card. You can write on the back of that. I learned something with this flocking. At first I was using Mod Podge, and it worked, but you didn't get a thick layer. But if you use tacky glue and press this in, you get a nice thick layer of the flocking, and it sticks really well. If anybody's out there looking to use flocking, use tacky glue. Over here, just a big journaling card that's from Susie's New Stove. I wonder what he's telling her in that picture. It doesn't look like she's listening. Here's some ledger paper of some sort with a milk cap. Here's a side tuck with another one of Meg's canning jars that I turned into a notepad. An empty recipe card. And a journaling card with an old-fashioned kitchen on it. Done in black and white. And on the back, it's an old farmhouse. Looks like she's working in her yard. And as I said, I just left this plain so you could use any conversions that might be on it. And that is all for the second of my 2 kitchen journals. I hope you like this video. I hope you like my journals. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon, guys. Bye.